Now we're going to do biscuits. Who doesn't miss a good biscuit in the morning with sausage or bacon or gravy, which is one of our favorites at our house. And the recipe is, it's buttermilk biscuits, and the recipe is 2 cups of gluten-free flour, a tablespoon of baking powder, 3/4 teaspoon salt, 1/2 teaspoon soda, 1/2 teaspoon cream of tartar, and 1.5 teaspoons xanthan gum. Got to have that in there so it'll stick together. 1 tablespoon of sugar. And I came up with, and I put the soy lecithin in there, or I used the dough enhancer to help the yeast, because I put yeast in it. Like some of the recipes for angel biscuits, I decided to use that. And so I have my yeast here proofing with 1/2 tablespoon of sugar, and this is a tablespoon of yeast, and with warm water, and it's sitting there getting ready for us. And some of my scone recipes had eggs in it, and so I have 1 egg beaten right here. And so I have everything, all the dry ingredients in here, and this has 1/4 cup shortening, and I've already measured that out and put it in here. And so now I'm going to put in, I forgot to tell you too, it has a cup of buttermilk. Probably won't need a cup of buttermilk since we have the egg and some of the water in the yeast. So usually it takes about 3/4 cup, but I've got the shortening in there now, and we're going to take a pastry cutter, and we're going to cut in our shortening here. Just keep working it till it begins to work together and you begin to see little coarse crumbs. So now I like to blend my biscuits with a fork. My mother did this, and you know we always learn from our mothers. So I'm going to take my egg, pour it in the middle of my little well that I just made right there, and then I'm going to put in my yeast that's really proofing well here. Pour that in there, and before I start with the buttermilk, I'm going to take my fork, work this around in my dough, blend it in there pretty good. And now I'm going to take my buttermilk, and I'm going to pour about 3/4 cup of my buttermilk there. There we go. And I'm going to start, and I'm going to just twice around the bowl, and I'm going to stop and stir, blend it in. These will take the place of your dinner rolls if you want, or I've even sometimes taken the dough, flattened it out real well with my rolling pin, and put a little sugar and butter on it and cinnamon, rolled it up and cut it, and have a little cinnamon roll out of it. So this is you can just do lots with this. You can put chives in them, and you could put parsley, and they could be used for your dinner rolls. So just keep blending and stirring, and you want your dough to look and feel nice and moist so that it will rise. You don't want it too sticky, and you don't want it too stiff, because you want it to be soft, nice and soft to the touch. And we may not use all this buttermilk, so I always hold back a little bit, because you can't take it out once you put it in. So it looks like it's getting blended pretty good here. And as in the days of working with regular flour, we're going to take our pastry cloth here again. Going to open it back up Going to get some of our basic flour mix. If I haven't given you the basic flour mix that I use for everything, it's 6 cups of white rice flour, 2 cups of potato starch, and 1 cup of tapioca flour. And I use that for everything. That works best for me. You can, there's a lot of new mixes out there, and a lot of other chefs have their own mixture that they like. So you just, do what you like best and what works for you. But this works best for me, and I use it for everything. We use it for cookies, we use it for cakes and pies, and just everything. And biscuits, of course. I'm going to put the lid back on there, and we're going to take our dough. See, it looks just like it used to. You can roll it around here a minute. The one thing that you can't overwork this flour because it doesn't have any gluten in it. And you could always roll around your flour so much that it would overactivate your gluten and make things sticky. We don't have that problem with gluten-free flour. So now we have our dough here, and we're going to pat it out. We're going to pat it out to, about a 1/2 inch thickness, I guess. Just roll it to your thickness there. And your basic cookie cutter, which we have here, is a little small can. You can use whatever you got. If you got the regular commercial ones, we'll use those. We're just using a can. Cut those things out like that. These don't have to sit and rise. It wouldn't hurt if you wanted them to rise a little bit before you cook them, but they work well without having to sit in proof and like the bread does, to rise a little bit. Just work your dough back around a little bit until it's nice and smooth. Pat it back down. Cut you out some more biscuits. And sometimes when I have a little left over, well, I'll just pat this out. Then's when I'll put on some, if I had to take my small rolling pin, I'll pat it out like this real thin, and then I'll put some butter and sugar and cinnamon on it, and then I'll just take it and roll it up. I don't have any right now to do that, but it'll roll. You just put it in your pan with your biscuits. And now your biscuits are ready to bake. And they go in a 425-degree oven for about 10 to 12 minutes until they're just good and golden brown on the top. And there you have your biscuits. And now they're ready for the oven. Okay, now it's been time. Our biscuits are done, and we're going to take them out of the oven. And there's your nice golden brown tall biscuits. Let's take a fork, break one of these things open. Whoa! Just look at that texture. Nice, soft. Butter, honey, syrup, jam, piece of sausage, gravy, whatever. And then when you put a little chives or parsley in there, you have a dinner roll. So there are your biscuits. See? Nice and tall. They stay together. Gluten-free biscuits. Just like before.